Welcome to another trip down the Bourbon Road with your hosts, Jim and Mike. So grab a glass of your favorite bourbon and kick back.
We would like to thank our friends at Premium Bar Products for sponsoring this episode. If you're ready to step up your game at your home bar, check out PremiumBarProducts.com to choose from their wide selection of glassware, all of which can be custom engraved with your personal message or logo. And there's no minimum order. So after the episode, head over to PremiumBarProducts.com and check out everything they have to offer. Now, let's get on with the show. Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Shannon.
And I'm Mike Hyatt.
And this is the Bourbon Road. And Mike, another Craft Distillery Monday. And what do you have on the table today?
So we got Woodinville straight bourbon whiskey finished in port barrels.
Okay. So Woodinville is not an obscure distillery. A lot of people know of Woodinville. They've got a great reputation. But this, in fact, is their port finish whiskey.
Yeah, 90 proof, pot stilled, 5 years old, finished for 6 months in the ruby port wine cask.
Okay, so sort of like Angel's Envy?
Yeah, I'd say somewhat like that. Different bottle shape, beautiful bottle. I like the little, short, stocky bottles like they have. I would say they're right around that orphan barrel size. A little bit different. It says made in Washington on it and raised lettering on the glass. I like it. And like you said, they're very popular right now. A lot of people are praising their work out there, and I think it's well deserved. We'll see how this tastes, though.
Absolutely. So they're making their own stuff. They're pot stilling it. They're in the Great Northwest, Washington State. There's a few distilleries up there. We've had a few on from that state. Woodinville is probably the better known of those that we've talked about. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. And they didn't ship us this bottle. I picked this bottle up myself down in Texas. I was on my trip down there. So I don't remember what I paid for it, but they are available even here in Kentucky right now. So they're out there.
Yeah, I think their distribution's pretty wide. So chances of one of you listeners running across a bottle of Woodinville is pretty good, I'd say. Well, Mike, let's check it out.
Let's do it.
Oh, it's got a great nose.
A lot of fruit in that. A lot of floral notes.
Yeah, I'm getting like a cherry fig Newton.
That's pretty good description right there, because I would have got that fig jam, not fig jelly or something like that.
Well, anytime the nose is kind of thick and syrupy, and it's funny to say that about your nose, but I tend to get that sometimes. You get that waft that comes off the Glencairn, and it's kind of got that thick, syrupy nose to it. You immediately start thinking about heavy things like figs and honey, and it's kind of sweet. Go ahead.
Charleston Chews, maybe. You ever had one? Charleston Chews?
Charleston Chews. It's been a minute, Mike, since I had a Charleston Chew, but I do like them.
I get a little bit of that on there.
Yeah, but the cherry kind of stands. I'm almost saying it's not just cherry, but it could be like a little, I don't know, blackberry or raspberry too. But the oak influence is present. You can you're getting that oak influence on it.
I can get that finishing out of this a little bit. Some of that port is coming out of it. I think it has a great nose on it.
It's kind of dark, though, isn't it? Don't you think that's a dark whiskey?
For a 5-year-old out of Washington, I'm very shocked at how dark it is. I don't even know what color that would be called.
It would be almost a chocolate amber, right?
Yeah, it's nice and dark. And did it pick up that ruby port cask? Did it pick up that residue from that and make it darker? Well, let's taste this joker.
Let's do it. Wow, that's pretty darn good. Yeah, I'm definitely getting the fruits, the berries, lots of berries.
I'd say dim dark, like you said, blackberries. I get that all day long on this. Some blackberry cobbler. Oh, man, getting hungry now, Jim.
Yeah, but the cherry's still there. The cherry actually translates from the nose to the palate. Got a little bit of tannin to it, a little bit of oak. It's picked up some of that leathery, oaky tannin. I'm getting it on the back end. The finish on it is actually medium to long. This definitely tastes a little bit older than 5 years, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd give it like an 8-year almost. It's very tasty. It's got all those fruits to it. It's got the oak influences coming out in it. It definitely didn't disappoint on that first sip. Sometimes you'll get those finished bourbons and the nose is just wonderful. I mean, you've had a couple of those, right? That the nose is just spectacular. And then you taste it and you're like, man, what happened? But this, it's got it. It's got it all. It's got that fruit. It's got some baking spices on the back end too. Just a little bit of spice on it.
It does. It absolutely does. Now, I think a lot of that's coming from the barrel, though. I'm not getting a lot of pepper or clove or anything like that. I'm getting more of a cinnamon.
None of that anise.
Not really.
No.
You are?
No. I actually got a surprise for you, Jim.
All right.
We're out yesterday and we went into an Amish market down off of 127, just north of Danville. And they had anise, those old country candies in there.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I got to get a bag of those for Jim.
Good deal. Excellent.
I got me a bag of whorehounds.
Good deal. I like whorehounds too.
Vivian slapped my hand a couple times. She stop eating those things because you eat one and she's like, those things stink like medicine. I love them.
Yeah, I don't think they're probably. I'm just guessing because I haven't had whorehound candy with bourbon before. I would say that it's probably not a good mix.
I don't know. I could probably sit and suck on a whorehound candy and drink some bourbon. That'd be all right with me. I love them.
Okay, so maybe we need to do some pairings with some of the stuff we call out on the show. I mean, sugar smack'ems. We need to pair with sugar smack'ems sometime. Pair with whorehound candies and Neckos and
just put it out.
Dr. Pepper with peanuts in it.
Hey, that's a real thing. I had so many people they couldn't believe that I had actually eaten that before. But when I was growing up in high school, our driver's ed teacher was our principal, and he's like, pull into that gas station right there. He'd go in there and get 3 Dr. Peppers and 3 bags of peanuts, and he'd give me another guy or girl that was in his driving around with him. He'd give us each a Dr. Pepper and a bag of peanuts, and away we'd go. Yeah, old Bill Brewster was that guy's name. He's still alive today. He's a great guy.
Speaking of stuff from the childhood and things that we take, have you ever had a peanut butter and pickle sandwich?
No, and I'll never have one of those.
Well, do you like dill pickles?
I love dill pickles.
Do you like peanut butter?
I love peanut butter.
You can't imagine that they go together, right?
They don't sound like that. Sounds like something a pregnant woman would eat.
It's actually pretty darn good. You remember old Elvis? He liked peanut butter and nanner sandwiches, right?
Now that's something I can get into right there. You mash up a ripe banana into some peanut butter, put a little honey in there. Man, yeah, that's like a fat guy's dream right there. I love it. And Elvis, obviously, by the end of his career there, when he was in Vegas, he was eating some of those peanut butter nanner sandwiches because he was putting on the weight.
He was sucking them down, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. I got some bananas upstairs right now. I might have to go up there and make one tomorrow for lunch.
All right. Well, one of these days, I'm going to get you to try hamburger slices on a peanut butter sandwich to see what you think. I think you'd be surprised.
I don't know. Pickles and peanut butter. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah. Pretty popular in some areas of the country, but that's for another talk. Well, Mike, Woodinville, they're port finished, 90 proof, straight bourbon whiskey. Definitely impressed.
Yeah, if I drink this bottle, I'll go out and get another bottle of this because I think this is something I need to have on the shelf at all times. I think they did a wonderful job with this. Whoever their master distiller is, whoever their blender is, they figured out the great combination here. They pulled it out of that port barrel at the right time. I'd say this is a sipper. Hell, I'd even give this to somebody.
Yeah, it definitely begs you to keep coming back for another sip. My glass is gone. As we wrap up this, I'm probably going to pour another one, Mike. Pretty darn good. I would definitely agree with you on that. It's a sipper. Would I give it to somebody? Absolutely. I think I would. I don't think it's a big gift. I think it's just an everyday gift kind of thing. But it's a good whiskey. And I hope to try some more Woodinville products on the show.
Heck, maybe they'll reach out to us. Who knows?
They're very busy people, though, aren't they? Well, so are we.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Well, why don't you tell everybody where they can find us?
So you can find us on all the social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Bourbon Road. We have a private Facebook group called The Bourbon Roadies.
And the Bourbon Roadies is a group of like-minded people on Facebook that like to talk about bourbon. It is a private group, though. We do ask you a few questions before you join. We want to make sure you understand you're getting yourself into a bourbon group, that you are old enough to drink bourbon, and that once you're in there, you'll play nice. So we just want to make sure of those things because we're all good people in there. We don't want any discontent. That's probably the best word. No discontent, right?
No hate and discontent. That's a good terminology there, Jim.
So, yeah, we share whiskey in there. We talk about whiskey. We take pictures of bourbon. We actually send samples to each other. We don't sell it. There's no selling that goes on there. That's a good way to be ex-bourbon roadie, I guess is the best way to say it. But it's a lot of fun. Come on in. We got master distillers in there. We've got the industry experts. We've got good old everyday bourbon drinkers like you and me. We just have a good time in there. And Mike, they can also find us on a website, right?
Yeah, you go on our website. You can buy our Glencairns on there. You can read the blogs that we write. Hopefully, we'll start putting some reviews up on there with the photos on there. That's something new that we hope to get done. If you're listening to this, you want us to review your whiskey, reach out to us. We're very approachable. We'll review it, but we'll do it honestly. We'll be respectful of your company. If you're listening to this, you haven't subscribed, scroll up and hit that subscribe button. Helps us out. And if you love this review, you love our main show, leave us a review. Makes my head even bigger.
And we do 2 shows a week, sometimes a third when there's a bonus, but we definitely do 2 a week. We do a, like this one, a Craft Distillery Monday review where we review a craft distillery whiskey. And then on every Wednesday, we do a full-length episode where we have a guest on the show. Yeah, sometimes it's just Mike and I, but usually we'll have a guest on the show and we'll kind of explore that guest and what they have going on. Sometimes it's master distillers, sometimes it's authors, chefs, musicians, everybody's game. They just have to like bourbon and then be willing to drink it on the show with us. Right, Mike?
That's right. If you can't drink some whiskey with us, I don't know if I could trust you.
We thank you guys for joining with us today, and we will see you down the Bourbon Road. We do appreciate all of our listeners, and we'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with us here on the Bourbon Road. We hope you enjoyed today's show, and if so, we would appreciate if you'd subscribe and rate us a 5-star with a review on iTunes. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Bourbon Road. That way you'll be kept in the loop on all the Bourbon Road happenings. You can also visit our website at thebourbonroad.com to read our blog, listen to the show, or reach out to us directly. We always welcome comments or suggestions, and if you have an idea for a particular guest or topic, be sure to let us know. And again, thanks for hanging out with us.